Guys, it's Janelle Style here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not, thank you for coming here. For today, I wanted to react to a scene from Star Wars between Rey and Kylo because you guys know I'm a Reylo fan, so of course I have to do that. And there was a request for a review and reaction to this video, which is the hut scene, the so-called hand touch scene. So I wanted really to react to it. Of course, I've seen it before. I've seen Star Wars before. I haven't seen Star Wars since the Star Wars of the Rise of Skywalker. But of course, I have been exposed to all this content, and it's just a revisitation and just look at the scene with fresh eyes again. Let's get to the video.
I thought I'd find answers here. I was wrong. I'd never felt so alone.
You're not alone.
Neither are you. It isn't too late.
Ooh, I didn't remember it to be so slow. It's killing me. Oh my god. Oh my god, it was the sound of thunder as soon as they touched. Ooh, Grandpa's here. That was nice. It's so short, but it's so powerful, you know, and I really enjoy these scenes. They're kind of like, their interactions are not always long interactions or very lengthy interactions. They're quite short, they're very brief, they're continuous. There are multiple interactions of them, but they're quite brief. So let's start from the beginning. So of course, we do have so many force bonds in the Star Wars Last Jedi, along with the Rise of Skywalker, but definitely there's multiple force bonds, and they usually have common connotations that are quite similar. Um, and in terms of the music, in terms of the audio, the scenery, the themes, the colors, the echoes, so there's some resemblance between all of them. This force bond was actually the most different of all, especially because it starts with her in a cave and there's a voiceover narration, so she's talking. We don't know who she's talking to. When I first watched this scene, or even now, if I didn't know, probably that's what I would be thinking too again. I would be falling for it. It seems like she's talking to herself, right? She's talking about her failure, her loneliness, the fact that she doesn't know where she comes from and who her parents are. And then it cuts to the hut scene where she's all wet, and it seems like I don't know if she's crying per se, but definitely she is very wet, right, from the rain, and she's covering herself. There's a fire, and that kind of gives a little bit the darkness and the red tones to the scene. So she's the dark side in this part, because just remembering from Anakin Skywalker, I would say that loneliness, sadness, fear of loss, those all lead to the dark sides we saw. And she's having these feelings, she's experiencing them. So definitely she's in the dark right now. She's lonely. And like I said, I was thinking she's talking to herself. And then as soon as we hear Kylo's voice, I was like, oh, where did he come from? So he has been talking to her and they've been interacting all along. She was actually telling him how her experience with the dark side and her visions in the cave. And I find that interesting because this type of interaction never happened before with the other force bonds. Like I said, this force bond is quite different. Not only for the audio, there's less echo. It looks like their voices are more, in tune with each other, more in the same space. Because of course with the other Force bonds, if I remember correctly, the echo suggested that they were still in two different spaces and the surrounding audio was like turned off, right? It was like muted, the surrounding sound I'm talking about. Instead, in this scene, the surroundings are still present. We can hear the rain, we can hear the thunders, but there's specifically at certain points, just to indicate a switch in their emotional charge. And again, their voices are not exactly as distant. They're a little bit closer, a little bit more private, more intimate, and that's one of the differences that I've seen from the other Force bonds. And I'm sure I will be catching more differences as soon as I do more reactions to the Force bonds themselves. And with regards to his commentary, of course, he's comforting her, so he's trying to make her comfortable, he's trying to console her, and that's admirable, something that's completely out of character from what we've seen before. And in this situation, you can see that he is the light. Is of course there's a little bit of darkness. He has dark tones, dark clothing, dark walls, but it's more on the gray tone, and there's some light behind them, right? So she's representing the light in this time. He's kind of like inspiring her to be the light, or he's transmitting part of his light to her to make her feel better, and she's still in the dark. She's in a dark place. So I find these colors, these tones, quite interesting. Like I said, this back and forth, it's very common even with the other Force bonds. With regards to, of course, he cuts to Luke. That's interesting. I completely forgot about him during that scene, that he was still there. So of course he was sensing that something was happening. Now, with regards to the actual motion, it's very slow. Very slow. I think it's meant to be like that, so to feel the tension and to feel the need to reach out, right? And I have to say, the more hesitant between the two is Kylo, of course. The more hesitant, and he's always been the most hesitant. She's the most. It's kind of interesting because they're both impulsive, but I do see her more impulsive than him. He tries to control it. She kind of like, she loses control very easily, I have to say. He tries to kind of like redeem himself and go back to his old self, right? After he has his moments. But anyway, he's the more hesitant here, and I like the shot that I like the most is the one that we see with her hand reaching out. It looks an incomplete shot because we see her hand, and on one half of the screen, half of the screen, we have a black, right? It's all pitch black, and it looks like incomplete. It looks like there's a lack of balance, and as soon as he comes in, like I said, hesitantly, he's kind of piercing the screen. It kind of like there's a union, and there's balance again on the screen, and within that space. So I find that extremely interesting, extremely visually appealing, and extremely sexy. It's extremely sexy and very sexual, and that's why they say this is the Star Wars sex version that you will find in this saga. So that's interesting. I even like the way they touch their skin, the thunder as soon as they touch it, the Force theme. I mean, everything comes together so beautifully, and her shaking from the vision that she's having, as she's experiencing of him in the future. And of course he's experiencing another type of vision, which is her and her parents and her true nature, and her destiny, what is she, that she's meant to be with him in one way or another. We don't know if it's for couple, but definitely as a couple, but definitely on his side. And then that magic, that union within that, just with the hand touch, it kind of like transport into the space itself. So he's like, firstly there's a union of the hands, there's a union of the bodies, of the entire body. So that's quite interesting. Of course, when Luke comes in and interrupts that union, and the balance is lost again. So of course Luke has caused the breaking point, the breakage of the balance. So that's quite interesting. So that's why Luke is viewed as the enemy in this movie, definitely, because he's like an impediment between these two Force users that are meant to come together. They're meant to be together and balance the Force, right? And he doesn't understand that yet. He doesn't understand because he lost that attachment to the Force. We know that he kind of gave up. So of course he's in the dark side now. Please comment down below. Please subscribe if you wish to support me, and Or if not, I'm so glad that you're watching anyway. Okay? Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Ciao!